I'm Michael Moorcock. Welcome to the Winter Solstice at Forbidden Planet TV, and a jolly good time to everybody who's celebrating at this time of year. And ho, ho, ho.
It's the 21st of December 2025. It is the winter solstice. And I am privileged to be joined by my old pal, Michael Moorcock. How are you, mate?
I'm doing very well, thanks, Andy. In fact, I haven't been doing so well for quite some time.
Well, it's great to hear that. And it is, of course, just a short 3 days after your birthday.
Right, and I got some very nice presents, mainly books. Which I don't need, but yeah, I had a very nice birthday.
Very good.
Yeah,
And so you've had a lot of things happen recently, mate. All good stuff,
yeah.
So yeah, Phil, I know you've had a few oral adventures of late.
Yeah, I got some new choppers at great expense. I also went to have my blood tested at the nearby cancer clinic, not because I had suspected cancer really, but it was just as well. I was glad to go there. It was just they were double checking on some minor problem, and I came away with a full bill of health. So I can't. I can't complain about anything really. Of course, something's going to happen if I say that too much. There'll be a giant brick will fall on my head, or or the usual stuff. So I shouldn't be saying too much. But yeah, from our point of view, it's been an improving few months, shall we say?
That is great to hear, mate. It really is.
Yeah.
I'm immensely pleased to hear, and to see you in such fine fettle as well.
Yeah, better than you, I have to say.
Yeah,
So,
that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, well, my 2 week battle with a grim chest infection. The highlight of which was, by the way, mate, was that the chest infection worked its way into my saliva glands, which was a
oh
first time
Christ,
experience. And
yeah,
and I woke up kind of midday one day when I was at the height of feeling very sorry for myself. I got some berries out of the fridge, thinking that they would be very good for me, which they
yeah,
normally are.
yeah,
And,
right,
and, and that tart taste you get when you eat some blueberries, it
yeah.
was like to the power of 100
Oh,
when it hit my mouth. I thought, wow, my saliva glands are shrieking. But then I
geez.
could feel my face swell up, and I looked in the mirror, and it is like somebody had surgically implanted two golf balls here and here, and my
Jesus,
face was just out like this.
you're turning into a giant hamster.
Absolutely right. Absolutely
Jesus
right.
God, that
And I
must have
was
been
I was part
horrible.
of the way there anyway. I got big cheeks at the best of times,
Well,
but yeah, man, they were giant sized.
bloody hell.
Yeah, no, it was horrible.
Yeah,
And it, to be even more gruesome about the detail, the problem was we all have our saliva glands, right? We have these kind of like drainage points that are inside our cheeks, yeah.
yeah.
And on both sides of my mouth, they had become infected and bunged up. So basically, when my tongue sensed the tart berries, all the saliva got produced, but it just got pumped inside my head,
Oh my
so it didn't come
God.
out. So yeah, it was pretty unpleasant,
Yeah.
and I got a range of specialized antibiotics and whatnot. I'm feeling far better now, but I still sound a
I'm
bit on the
sure you
throaty side.
are. Mind you, I must have that to have seen you when,
Yeah. Oh yeah, you would have been
at
highly
the height of
amused.
your swelling. I shouldn't say that, but I mean,
Yeah, your
it's
reaction,
always good to see somebody else's
it so
horrible.
is, right? Yeah, your reaction wouldn't have been one of gentle good fellowship. I think you would have found it very amusing.
Yeah, I probably would. Well, it would have been both, to tell you the truth, but I have to say I probably couldn't have. It's very nice to be able to have a friend you can laugh at. Otherwise, most of my friends like that are dead now, and
Well,
it doesn't seem right to laugh at them
well,
in their
that
position.
that's I'm here to serve for sure, mate. So
Yeah, thank
I
you.
think it's a
Good. Yeah,
mutually
yeah,
beneficial situation.
yeah. Well, it's only you and Pete Pavley really that I can do that with now. So
Well, such is life, right?
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, no, I hear you, mate. But that's why it's so wonderful that you're still going strong.
yeah. Well, I seem to be. I recorded. I think I may have mentioned that I was doing it, but anyway, I recorded three songs for Cleopatra for Alan Davey, who's producing them for Cleopatra,
Yeah.
and they said that I sounded very youthful, which is very nice. I mean, they both Alan and Cleopatra Records really liked them, liked the versions that I'd done. They were covers of other people's songs. Well, one of them was one of mine. I did Motorhead. I did Bob Calvert's Green Fly in the Rose, which is a song that I did backing tracks on when he first did it, but I did the whatever it is, the fronting track, um, and I did one of mine called Star Cruiser, which has been around a long time. It's first single I ever recorded actually. So anyway, and I've got some more coming up, plus another record. Don Falcon has been doing the Alien Heat stuff, and he's finally finished it. Four records of that go with the series of the Dances at the End of Time, and so that's coming up too. Cleopatra are redoing it as vinyl, so
Oh,
there's a
amazing.
lot of musical stuff in the works.
And Mike,
I
how
mean,
did it
very
all come
close to the
about?
works.
How did you become so industrious all of a sudden with the music stuff?
Well, I don't think it was any different. I mean, I just, I'm an old hack. I just do what people ask me to do. I don't even ask how much I'm being paid for it most of the time. Linda does that though, and people are very frightened of her.
I do know
Um,
that, yes.
yes, but no, I mean, I just I finished the somewhat grueling final book in the trilogy that I was doing. This is called The Wounds of
The
Albion,
Wounds
the
of
last book.
Albion, yeah.
Yeah, and I also finished this, which I did with Mark Hodder. Can you see? Yeah,
Oh
you can see it
yes,
all
yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
which is
I thought that was great.
well, it's going down nicely, I have to say. I mean,
Yeah,
people like it. People have been giving it really good reviews. I mean, not printed reviews. I don't think it's. I never see any printed reviews, but I do see electronic reviews, and people see. It's a good book to come out at Christmas. It's a
yeah,
nice, good, solid, you know,
yes.
fast-paced read, and so I'm glad about it. I like working with Mark. It's very, very easy to work with Mark, and except when he's dealing with floods, because he lives in Valencia.
Oh yeah,
so,
okay.
so he's been
He's
having that.
if I remember correctly, isn't Mark a big Sexton Blake expert?
Oh yeah, I mean that's well, it's not really how we met, but yeah, I mean that's what we kind of bonded over, I
Yeah,
suppose. And he does, he did the Spring Heel Jack um,
that
books
was
and
it.
so on.
Yeah.
And so and he's enjoying it. I mean, he says he's learning from the master. I don't know who that is, but I'm getting along with him all right. Um, and we've got a whole bunch of stuff in the works because it's we just our various talents seem to come together very nicely. So I'll be publishing a few more well after I'm dead, I should imagine.
I mean, well, I personally, I hope that's decades in the future, and but also it's great that you've got such a fruitful relationship with Mark. I
Yeah,
think that's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. I mean, he does. He is very pleased because he's read my work for years, and um, so it's worked out well. I like what he does, so
Yeah.
we're it's not the same thing as you know, like people used to do Leslie Charteris Saint books, which
Yeah,
he always claimed were his own, but they weren't, because I
yeah,
know Harry Harrison did at least one, and I mean quite a few people in the SF field earned a bit from doing Saint books, but you know I would never do that. But it's nice to have a collaborator who can write a good old fashioned thriller. Really, you know, is
yeah.
what they are, and but put together with a lot of the Elric mythology and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So yeah,
I mean,
um,
I love it. I think that's fantastic.
yeah. Well, I like it too. I mean, you know, particularly since Mark's doing most of the heavy lifting, you know, it's very nice to me.
Quite
And
right
I
too.
do pay him. He gets $1 a book.
Oh,
Is
no, very good. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, you know,
Generous to the last.
well, it is. Yes, it's it's good for him, you know, to buckle down
Yes, for sure.
and
Yeah.
understand. But hard work does have its rewards.
Maybe you'll get him
Um,
up to $2 at some point. Not straight away.
let's not talk about that. I mean, you may.
Mike, what about where are you at with Wounds of Albion? Because I know it's all
Well, that's
completed.
done. It's
Yeah,
been edited.
yeah,
I've checked the editing, and that's been, you know, all done. It wasn't a lot involved, um, and uh, and yet, in spite of that, it's still not coming out until next October. So,
wow,
so I'm a bit disappointed at the gap. But then there's also at least one more um, of the Albino, you know, sequels to the
yes,
Metatemporal Detective
yeah.
stories, and that's at least one more of those to come out. Same publishers, so they. I mean, I feel I feel sympathetic to them. You know, they're getting all this stuff coming down the pipeline, and they're thinking, well, you know, we can't do one a month, which is what they used to do
Yeah.
when I was in my pomp. But they're not doing that anymore. They're bringing them out more slowly. So there you go.
But I mean,
I'm
you've always been a super prolific author, haven't you, mate? You've never had a
yes.
problem with
No, I mean, one
banging the
year
work out.
I wrote 12 books in
Wow.
1 year, and one of those got a literary prize. So they weren't, you know, they weren't shit books. They were. I mean, but at least people didn't think they were shit books. That's all I could say. I always think they're shit books because I think everything I do after I've done it, you know, is crap. But there you go. Um, I've been having this problem with the recordings, you know, because everybody else is saying, yeah, great, great, great. And I'm saying, well, you know, couldn't we
Yeah.
have, maybe it needs a bit more, you know, echo or a bit more backing, you know, backing singers and stuff like that. And I decided to remove myself a bit from it because I can imagine what it's like, you know, when everybody else thinks they're finished. Along comes me and says, well, you know, I wouldn't mind doing, you know, this or that, and so I've stopped doing that now. I'm saying if you think it's good, then I think it's good, and off we
Yeah,
go.
quite right too, mate. And
Well,
I mean, no, I think it's a good thing. So we won't be seeing Wounds of Albion for almost another year, another 10
almost
months or
another
so.
year
Wow.
exactly. Yeah, yeah,
Well, we'll
yeah.
have to have a more detailed chat about that nearer the time then.
Well, yeah, yeah, and maybe, you know, see what the whole when all three are published, you know, we'll do
Uh,
something about that. Yeah,
that would I'm all in on that as well.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean on the at Titan, we've been doing well with our versions of the French adaptations of Hawkmoon, and we've got another one of those scheduled in the very near future. In March, we're publishing Hawkmoon: The Battle of Kamarg.
Hmm.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so and that's another very nice, handsome volume, nicely put together.
absolutely. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
it made me wonder. It made me think back to what you can remember from creating Hawkmoon in the first place. You know, what are your
Um,
memories like of that?
Well, the first ones I was actually commissioned to. Well, I mean, Ted Carnell commissioned me to write the Elric stories in short form,
Yeah,
but the Hawkmoon books, I think were the first books I was actually commissioned to write by an American publisher, and that was I think it was around '64 or '65, and as it happened, I was New Wales was doing all right at that point, but when we went to the big size, which was 67, um, it 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 started to lose its distribution because Smiths, as thought it was too disgusting or whatever to show to to normal adults. Um, so I used the Hawkmoon books as well, to keep the magazine going through its various hiccups, um, and um, and really that was why I first started doing the Hawkmoon books. I mean, it was. I was writing comics mostly, and comics for Fleetway paid a lot better than books did. The initial amount. But of course, they didn't pay royalties in those days. I mean, you didn't, you were lucky. Well, you're lucky if you got paid at all, really. But anyway, no, it wasn't. That's not really fair for Fleetway, but they paid well, but you didn't get any royalties. And I thought to myself, I can't keep doing this, or I'll just be right, I'll just keep on and keep on until I'm worn out. So I wanted to start writing books, but I had a young family and I couldn't afford to just, stop and write a novel. So I only had 3 days a week in which I had enough time to write a novel, and the other 4 days I was writing comics. And actually, I probably had a weekend or two off as well. But so anyway, so I had 3 days to write them. So each one of the Hawkmoon books was written in 3 days, um, and um, and that may be what gives them their sort of pace as well. Because
I
I was really,
suspect it is. I mean,
yeah.
that's an amazing pace in and of
Yeah,
itself.
I was a super fast typist. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I don't know. But I've got some. I had in those days anyway. I had some kind of super speed. I was really really good at typing, so that as Linda said, it sounded like a machine gun going off, and it made other people feel unable to work because they'd hear this sort of going on in the other room, and they'd be thinking, I can't do this, I can't do, and so I had to separate myself from anyone else who was trying to use a typewriter at the time. Be easier now because you could silence it and they wouldn't know what you're up to. But anyway, I'd had the idea for some time, um, and when and Lancer Books started to publish the Elric books, and uh, Compact Books were asking for um, uh, the the Egg Burrows, whatever you call them, rip-offs.
Oh
This is
yeah,
probably
yeah.
what you call, which I did them three Edgar Rice Burroughs books in less than 3 days a piece, actually, because
Wow.
that's all the time I had. It was about 2.5 days a piece, and and Lancer Books bought them. I'd originally written them for Compact, and then Larry Shaw, who's then the editor and a forgotten editor now, but he's one of them. He and Don Walheim are the two editors who really started the whole fantasy boom, by reprinting the likes of Jack Vance's Dying Earth and the Conan books and so on. I mean, they all had, they were fans and they had this huge backlog of stuff to reprint. So they started reprinting it. People had thought up to then that you couldn't sell fantasy, that it didn't sell. And people when I did the first Elric books, they would put SF in large letters on the front because they were afraid people wouldn't buy them otherwise. But anyway, and so Larry Shaw asked me if I could do a set which suited me very well at the
Yeah.
time because I needed the dosh, and that's how I started doing the Hawkmoon books, and then I did the Coran books next, but that was a little bit later. And that was, I mean, all of these things go with the birth of children. Actually, whenever I had a new kid, I had to start making some money, and so I tend to associate the books with the child that I that had come along in the meantime. So anyway, that's that. The Hawkmoon books uh, were I don't know. I mean, they're just they're just a sort of. I had a lot of ideas, and they just sort of poured out of me.
Yeah.
Um, and the comics came a bit late. The first Hawkmoon comics
Yeah.
came sometime after that. I think in the 70s or late 70s maybe, and they were done by Puerto Rican artist. I think he was Raphael. I can't remember his name. I mean, he's well known now, and I should remember his name, but I'm terrible at names at the best of times. And uh, and that was first comics. They did Elric, Coram, and Hawkmoon,
They were a
and
great
as
outfit, actually, creatively. They used to do a lot of great stuff
they were,
first.
but unfortunately they overstepped as people do.
Yeah.
They overstepped their uh, well, they got up to too optimistic, over optimistic, shall we say, and they bought Classics Illustrated, and which would have been all right, except that they also decided to do them in a very novel way, which was a great, artistically a great idea, and another 10 years on probably would have worked. But these were very unusual for comics. They didn't have just straight, ordinary figure drawing as most comics did at that point. And so they actually went bust as a result of doing a posher kind of comic. But while they were doing it, I mean, they had as you know, they had Craig Russell
Oh, yeah.
doing
Yeah.
Elric, and they had Mike Mignola doing Coram, and they had this
All those
bloke.
beautiful editions we've put out in hardcover. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. And in fact, it's better than the originals
Yeah.
because the color works much better on them. The
Yeah.
ones
Well,
you've
as we've
done.
talked about before, I agree. And I think
Yeah,
our versions, those comics have never looked better.
yeah, absolutely, I agree. And um, or be more expensive. Um,
That's so true.
anyway,
It's funny because it's true.
yeah, well,
But it's well
um,
worth your money, viewers. I'm
oh
telling you right
yes,
now.
well, yes, and happily, a lot of people seem to think so, or we'd all be looking very different if at this
Absolutely
moment
right.
in time.
This is the Moorcock Benevolent Fund needs you
Yes, that's
and
right.
and our
That's
and our
right.
graphic novel pricing.
That's right. We'd be it'd be a different kind of Christmas broadcast too.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
anyway, so yeah, they did everything, but for some reason, the Hawkmoon comics, which were just as successful when first did them, and as I say, they got the seal of disapproval from Ladies Against Violence or whatever the
Yes.
firm was called. That firm, the outfit was called,
The firm.
and
Yeah, the Ladies Against
yeah,
Violence
yeah.
firm. That's just about right, I think.
um, I think a Japanese comic came in second. So I thought, well, if I can beat the Japanese at horrid violence, I must be doing something right.
Quite right too.
Anyway, so yeah, I was wondering when Titan were going to do them, so I'm looking forward to Titan doing them. I'm because I I like them. They're probably the ones I like best of all the goes at Hawkmoon, except maybe for Jim Cawthorn's, because I've always, Jim
Yeah.
Cawthorne and I have always worked so
I know you
closely
love
together.
I know you love those
Yeah,
Cawthorn editions. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's all great stuff. What I love about our Michael Moorcock Library is, it's still going strong, and there's still a bunch of stuff for us to do.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah,
And it's just been the gift that keeps on giving in terms of getting the books out there in print and keeping them in print. Is we're
yeah.
also very proud of.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm running out of space to keep them in, but apart from that, I've got no problem. No, I'm very pleased with that entire thing, and I always expect something to last a week, and then it's all forgotten about. But um, just recently, what with the new Simon and Schuster Elric editions,
Yeah.
and and with the Titan editions, it's just been wonderful, to see. Well, books that I wrote 65 years ago. I've never really worked it out, but however long it is, quite a long time, and they're still coming out, and there's still people sort of discovering them, which is great.
I think if you're discovering them and you start to feel your way through your universes, if you will, the great thing about it is what's important to us, and I can see that the other guys who are publishing your work now have exactly the same set of influences that we do, is they want matching sets where you can explore the whole
Yeah,
literary universe, but it all matches on the shelf and it all looks like it
yeah.
goes
Well,
together.
yeah, and that's why I did. I mean, I lost a lot of money doing this, but I wanted to do it with the original Orion set that came out in the 90s, or started coming out in
Yeah.
the 90s and finished coming out in the beginning of the century. Um, and I wanted I wanted a set of books, that people could they could follow a story. If they wanted to know where to begin, they could begin with book one. I mean, they didn't have to, but that's what they could do if they wanted to. So you that was one thing, and B, whatever B. Hang on, I'm very bad at math. Um, not that that is math. Just a minute. And also, so that people could have something on their shelves that matched up. But what it meant was that I lost a huge amount of money in royalties because the books were going out in omnibus editions, and I
Yeah,
wasn't getting
okay.
a different royalty. I was
Yeah,
getting the same
yeah,
royalty I would have got if each one had come out as
yeah.
they'd been doing up until then. And I remember Anthony Cheetham, who is not known for was not known for being um, generous to his authors, let's say. He said to me, "Are you sure you want to do this, Mike?" He said, "Because it's gonna you're gonna lose a lot of money doing it." And I said, "Yeah, I'd rather do that. I mean, I really did. I just wanted to have some. I'm just thinking of what I would like
Yeah.
if I was the reader." And so, that's how the first set of omnibus editions came out. And then, of course, there's the paperbacks that Gallant's are doing now, and which is another match set of
Yeah,
paperbacks
they're
in this
they're very
case.
nice. They're very
Yeah,
nice.
and and of course the Titan books. So I can give you an entire library all by
Absolutely,
me.
absolutely. No, yeah, it's all right here, everyone. And if you go to the links underneath our conversation, you can magically find all of these books.
Absolutely, yeah,
The
yeah,
perfect New Year
yeah.
present. And you've
Do
got
you
when
know
you've
I
got
haven't
that cash for
I
Christmas.
haven't, I haven't been into Forbidden Planet since Titan started doing them,
Oh
and
wow.
I ought to go in sometime. I just,
Yeah.
well, because my legs are not what they were. I don't get a chance to stroll around the way I used to,
Well,
and
mate, I mean, next time you're in London, I'll get you in there. I'll get you around and
oh
about.
well, yeah, I can get Linda to do it.
Yeah,
Well, not she won't grumble about it, but it's all trade-offs, So I've got to be
yeah.
careful because I've got to think. I think got to think pies first,
Oh,
before I
of
think
course.
anything
Yeah,
else.
yeah.
Um,
Smithfield Market first. Or
well,
I've got a pie. I've got a pie update. You've got to hear, right?
oh,
So I went for lunch with a bunch of UK comic creators. One of whom is Garth Ennis, whose work I know you
mhm.
like.
Yeah, I do.
Just the other day pre Christmas, and we had lunch a place called the Edgar Wallace. Now, the Edgar Wallace pub is at Temple, and it is virtually next door to where Macmillan London used to be, and that was my first employer. So
Oh,
working for
yeah,
Macmillan and working for
yeah,
them. That's
yeah.
where Lord Stockton's office was, and and the Edgar Wallace is just next door, named after the great man himself.
Absolutely, yeah. I knew it was. I've never been in it, but I knew it was there because.
Yeah,
Sorry, I'm just
no,
breaking
please.
into your story, but I was having lunch with somebody from the Spectator some while ago, and they came in. They said, there's a pub up the road named after your favourite author, and I said, who's that? And they said, Edgar Rice Burroughs. And I said, I think that's not Edgar Rice Burroughs because I'm not sure he was a famous Fleet Street man.
Yeah.
I said, you don't mean Edgar Wallace? Oh, yes, I said Edgar Wallace. So, yeah, gotcha. Anyway,
That's
you were
actually more
saying.
interesting than my anecdote, but I'll
Oh,
complete
well.
my anecdote
All
nonetheless,
right.
which is they've just had a new ownership. The place hasn't changed on the inside since I had my first drinking though, which was in 1987. It hasn't changed at all. Yeah, but they've changed the management and they've just upgraded the menu, and the managers are kind of pure blood East Enders. And so one of the big things they changed is they have proper pie and mash shipped in. And so it was like I ordered the pie and mash. It was two pies, mashed potatoes, liquor, pint of Guinness. It was absolutely fantastic. And at the forefront of my mind was when Mike gets back to London, we've got to come here.
Well, yeah,
Because
you're
it will
turning into a Cockney. I'm not sure. I mean, you may have
it's never
you may
gonna
have relatives coming
happen.
on to you about that. And yeah,
Who knows?
yeah,
Yeah, it was delicious though. It was really really good. I
yeah,
was I was
great.
very impressed. I mean, I'm a gravy man through and through. I wouldn't normally eat a pie with liquor, but on this
No,
occasion,
to tell you the truth, I mean, I better tell you now because I'm going to have to tell you sooner or later. I don't like liquor. I, I was, I've said this. I mean, I wasn't raised by gypsies, but um, um, I was, I was born and lived in Mitcham,
yeah,
which is near the Common, which is where a
yeah,
lot of settled gypsies live because they used to, the Mitcham Fair and all of that was associated with gypsies, and gypsies settled in Mitcham.
yeah,
And my mum, when she went to work, I was minded by gypsies, who were actually mostly totters. They had a totters muse and ponies which I could ride and stuff like that. It was wonderful. They were really nice people, at least to me they were, and um, and they used to go up to London and sell Lucky White Heather and all that sort of thing.
yeah. Right on.
They,
I remember those guys.
um,
Yeah.
and now I've completely forgotten what I was talking about. Um,
Well, you don't like liquor, actually.
oh,
That
liquor,
was
yeah.
yeah,
Their favourite thing was to go to Brixton on a Saturday, and a an eel and pie shop,
yeah.
which they loved to go to, and um, so and they'd take me with them, and I really didn't like it. I didn't like the eels. Obviously I like pies. I didn't like the eels, and I didn't like the liquor. But I felt it was rude, not to. So I used to force this stuff down, and I still don't. I still don't like liquor. I mean, gravy's what I like,
I,
and
I, I mean,
um,
obviously, I'm from the northwest, so I'm a
yeah,
gravy man through and through. But
yeah, absolutely.
it strikes me actually there might be some of our American friends watching this who don't know what we're talking about, which is when we're
Well,
saying liquor, we're
just
not
as
talking
well.
we're not talking about grain
We ought
alcohol.
to have some secrets, Andy.
Well, look it up. Liquor is something you eat pies in the UK, and it
Yeah.
is not alcohol. It is something else.
No, no, quite. It's
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's actually made with eels or not. I mean, I had the feeling, the trouble is that when I was little, fishmongers used to keep eels live in big tanks, and
So,
the way posh restaurants have lobsters these days, but anyway, they used to have these eels. And I remember I thought I wouldn't mind an eel as a pet. So I said to the fishmonger, I said, how much are the eels? He said, they're a shilling each, which is what they were then. And I said, oh, I said, how'd you keep them? I said, what did you do with them? He said, well, you just pick one out and I fish it out and I chop it up and there you go. You take it home. And I was just distraught. The idea of these eels, it seemed perfectly nice little kind of fishy things,
Yeah.
being chopped up, and it just ruined it for me. I mean, I couldn't. I mean, I had to force myself to eat an eel, a jellied eel in Brixton, but I still don't like it. I'm not a natural lander in that
Yeah,
respect.
I am not a natural eel consumer, full
No,
stop. So,
no.
so
And
yeah.
Linda can't believe that any human being would actually, put a jellied eel at that, into their mouths. And I can understand that. It's one of the few things we agree on around food. I've also found a place where you can order meat pies, but I've got to persuade Linda yet that the postage is worth it.
I mean,
Because
Mike,
it's
you and I both know that the postage is worth it.
Yeah, well, it is. Yes, I mean, I would more than if I'd buy a freezer just to order them, so I didn't have to pay postage because a certain number of pies or
Yeah.
a certain amount of stuff from this place. It's up in New York somewhere, so they have to freeze it and everything, and then send it down to you. But I'd buy a freezer. We haven't got a freezer except a little fridge freezer, in the fridge. Um, we're very un-American in so many ways. But anyway, we haven't got a freezer, and so I would buy a freezer, yes, just so I could store my pies in for when needed.
Quite
But
right. Well,
which was every day, really.
of course,
When
if you need a sterling testimonial, a written testimonial, I'm always there for you with regard to Linda. I'd be very happy to underline how important it is for an Englishman to get his pies,
I
even by post.
agree, but I don't think she has any sympathy for um, for any of that. We've spent too long. I mean, she's quite good. I mean, she'll let me go to Fortnum and Mason's and buy pies there because we stay just around the corner from there.
Yeah, of
But
course. Yeah.
um, and that's the reason why, from my point of view, anyway. And they do a very nice pie. And she discovered last time we were in London that they do a pate that she just found exquisite. I didn't taste any of it. It was some haughty customer had just sort of ordered it and then just walked off because the lady doing the serving couldn't get to her fast enough. So they shared it.
Oh, lovely.
and and the haughty lady can go and fuck herself
As they say at Fortnum and
as
Mason's.
they say at Fortnum and Mason's. I'm sure they do say it quite a lot at Fortnum and Mason's.
Yeah.
They have to be so fucking
Proper with
controlled.
you, controlled.
Yeah,
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 no, for
yeah.
sure.
Because they're just, well, when you get talking, they're just ordinary nice people, and
Yeah.
but they're having to do all this flim flam around these. I must admit, not necessarily unpleasant people. I mean, some of them are just toffs.
Yeah.
Um, we took Ian Sinclair out for his 80th birthday, the time before last, I think it was. Anyway, and to a very posh restaurant again near there. This is all around St James's, and we stay there because it's cheaper for us to stay there than it is almost anywhere else because we belong to this club for years, and it's Wilton's in I forget which street it is, but one of those streets is off St James's, and it costs about a million quid just to order a bottle of water, but it's very very nice, generally traditional English food, and I really like it. But I mean, we couldn't eat there all the time, but it's very nice.
Yeah.
So we took Ian and Anna there. Unfortunately, it was marred by that awful bloke Rees Mogg, who I couldn't see, but unfortunately was in their line of sight. So it slightly spoiled their evening out.
You know what, mate? I've had exactly that experience in a different kind of way. Another place I like going that's been closed for a number of years, but it's about to be reopened. But I always went for annual Christmas dinners with my brothers, with my brother and two of our pals. Was Simpsons in the Strand.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah,
love
yeah,
Simpsons in the Strand, and
yeah.
it's reopening
Oh, really? Oh, good.
In February next year. So your next London visit, we should go there, mate.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
but
Because it'll be easy for me to get there too. I mean, it's not very far.
from
So
your
yeah,
place,
yeah, yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah.
from your London residence,
Yes,
which
our London residents.
is beautifully located. I know,
Yeah.
and we were there one Christmas. Really looking forward to it. Oh, I know what it was. And we before we went to Simpsons, we went to the American bar at the Savoy. You know, another
Yeah,
favourite place,
yeah.
and we got seated next to that douchebag Piers Morgan, right?
Oh
And
God.
he was there
Oh
holding
God.
forth to his pals, blathering on and on and on. And we're
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
oh man, this
Yeah,
guy won't shut
yeah.
the fuck up. And it was all, you know, the great I'm personal friends with Trump. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the
Oh
other.
Christ.
You know, it
It's
was
a
never
shame you didn't
ending.
have any arsenic about your person. It's always a good idea to carry just a little bit, or
Yes. Yeah.
strychnine. I mean, it doesn't have to be arsenic.
Yeah.
Just in case the opportunity arises.
Quite right too, mate. You know what? This Epicurean journey through the law of London, the food law of London, makes me think that the other thing we should mention, which was, let's see, it's Sunday now. This was released a couple of days ago on Friday the 19th, was our 2025 version of A Hard Degree Christmas Carol. That's up there now for everybody who's
Oh,
watching
good.
this. You really need to, in aid of comic books for kids, which it always is, and it's myself and Mike and a bunch of other
Yeah,
actors, performers, authors doing the live Dickens live concert version of A Christmas
absolutely.
Carol, and
It's the movie that made me a star, Andy.
absolutely right, absolutely
And you
right.
too. Yeah,
And me
yeah.
too. And if Mike Moorcock isn't perfect casting as old Fezziwig, I don't know who is perfect casting for that role. And it's the real high point of it every year for me is your
Yeah.
Fezziwig scene, which I urge everyone to listen to.
Me too. Yeah, yeah.
And
And
all
I'm
for a
very
very
proud to
good
be in it.
and all for a very good cause, right, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
Good
right on.
causes is what I like.
Yeah, me too. Very, very well said. We've just done a whole issue of Savage Sword of Conan, the black and white comic, which
Yes,
was
I saw that advertised. Yeah, yeah.
hats off. We've done a very nice job with it,
Looks good.
and it looks that and it feels just right. And we've just
Yeah.
done a whole issue that was written and illustrated by Liam Sharp. Yeah. Now I don't know if you're aware of his work, but he's a contemporary English artist who's heavily influenced by John Buscema and Barry Windsor Smith, while also doing his own thing. And
Yeah.
he's just done a great job.
And I'd like to do a Conan where he's wearing clothes for a change.
Yeah, right on.
I get sort of tired of this. This guy looks like
The
he's stepped
loincloth.
straight out of a gym.
Yeah.
Because my particular bugbear is this: they're all showing these heroes, pumped up and looking like, and a person of action doesn't get that kind of musculature.
Yeah.
You only get that if you're pumping iron and
Yeah.
and doing all this stuff. Um, and and it much as I like Frazetta and admire Frazetta as an artist, it was Frazetta that really put it all in that direction. I mean, before that, if you look at illustration before that, there wasn't the same, it wasn't the same kind of big pumped up blokes that you now see on pretty much every Tarzan cover. And Tarzan would never have looked like that either,
Yeah.
and certainly didn't when I was watching Tarzan movies. But
No. Johnny
he,
Weissmuller looked great, but he didn't have that kind of physique, did he?
absolutely not. No, but at the same time, he could. I mean, and there were others. I didn't like most of the others who came after him until relatively recently. But none of those look like that. None of them
Yeah,
look like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
no,
Which
I quite liked Ron Ely because he was
yes, yeah,
and
I
he
did.
looks like a fit man,
Yes,
rather than
exactly. Yeah,
this
exactly.
weirdly sculpted figure.
Yeah.
Actually, to switch like franchises. That's an awful word. I hate using that. I should have thought of something else.
Well, McDonald's and Kentucky Fried Chicken,
Absolutely
right?
right. That is what a franchise is. I couldn't agree more. One of the things I did like about the original Ridley Scott Gladiator is the fact that Russell Crowe is a big dude in it, but he's not cut and ripped. He's
Yeah,
big. He's got
yeah,
heft to him rather than he's got big defined muscles. And that
yes,
was
yeah,
clearly a choice that they were swimming against the tide at that point. They
yeah,
obviously went down that route on purpose, and I thought it worked
yeah.
really well.
I haven't seen it yet. I mean,
Yeah.
I only get to see what. Well, we haven't been to an actual theatre for since COVID, and because every time we're about to go, some new disease starts to spread through Texas.
Yeah.
Nobody's getting vaccinated, and nobody's sort of and at our age, you have to be a bit careful. So we haven't. And I don't really like watching that kind of film on TV. We haven't got one of those vast, huge
Yeah,
TVs that
I've got it. You want to
um,
see your spectacle on the screen, right?
yeah, yeah, and I'm going to miss it. Normally on my birthday, um, I would have gone to see a movie in the cinema. Usually, if possible, if it was out in what's that really big screen? I can't
On
remember it.
IMAX. If it was on
IMAX,
IMAX,
yeah.
yeah.
It was on IMAX. We'd go and see it on IMAX. We saw, and go and see that kind of film, a film that normally Linda would just
Yeah.
refuse to see, except that she really liked John Carter.
Which
And
was
we've seen
great,
that.
as we've talked about.
We've seen that. Yeah,
Yeah, that was
three or four
wonderful, John
times
Carter.
now.
It's really
Yeah,
good.
and we saw that on IMAX. I think it may have been no, it wasn't the last one. No, but we also saw Hellboy when it came out on my birthday, and so on and so forth. And now it's not, we can't do that really, and because every time it looks like things are settled down and we can go out and go into a crowded theater with a and we can't really, not without risking our ancient
Yeah, I mean
uh,
that's a dreadful catch-22 to have, really, isn't it?
yeah, yeah. I mean, I know not everybody thinks that's serious, but so far we've avoided COVID.
I mean
We're
that's
about the
that's an
only people.
amazing, yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Because I think my daughter's had it about 7 times. I mean,
yeah.
she's being a teacher. I mean, you almost inevitable to get it. And all my family have had it, several times. My friends have had it. We're about the only people that I know that I can think of that haven't actually had to suffer through it. Except we may have had it in 2019 before it really. We were in France and we got what we thought was this appallingly bad flu. Um, just before we were due to come back to the States. And I had to have a doctor in, which is, I mean, almost unheard of. And I really was I just felt really bad. And we thought after a bit that maybe that's what we'd had because it started in 2019, which is why it was called COVID-19. I mean, so we may well have had it early, and And so we may have had it, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But we don't want to have it again.
No.
I wouldn't want to go through that again either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I mean, if you've had it, you certainly don't want to have it again. That's
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
right.
Also, it cuts down on your on what you can be doing, and I've really got a lot of things I want to keep doing.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you're going through a real renaissance at the moment, so you want to be powering forward with that, don't you?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At least until I'm 90. I've got a very good friend called Dave Harvey, who's an economic geographer. He's a very famous um, guy. He gives lectures, and they're on YouTube as well, which I would recommend to everybody. He's not a communist, but he's a Marxist. He's read Capital about 50 times and
Yeah.
can give an analysis of Capital. And he's 89 and he's still at it. And he was the best man at my first wedding. So I'm in slight competition with him.
Yeah.
There he is at 89, still lecturing. Still moving ahead, and I want to get at least to 89, possibly 90, and still be up to doing stuff as much as Dave can.
Well, I confidently predict you'll do it, mate. So
Oh
that makes
well,
me
I don't
think.
know.
That makes me think. My dad sends his best, by the way.
Oh, good, great. How's he doing?
He's extremely well at the moment,
Oh, wonderful.
and
That's
he
great.
seems to have he seemed to have found because he's currently 93, and he's up in his nursing home in Merseyside, but he's very very happy. I speak to him every day. He seems to have found a new lease of life. Conversely, by complaining about how badly Liverpool Football Club are doing this season,
Well, I
and their
mean, he's
performance has
right.
just fallen apart.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Man City's just wiping the whole
Yeah,
fucking world. I
yeah.
mean, Holland is. I mean, got his 100th goal. What was it last week? I mean, he's just a miracle. It's like watching what's his name? The guy uh, in the Dundee papers, the what Wilson, the Wonder
Oh
Man.
yeah, Wilson.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
The DC Thompson character. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I
Wilson.
mean,
Yeah, quite
I'm
right.
not a great football fan, although Linda's the big football fan in the family, which is sort of ridiculous in a way. But there you go. Um, and well, when was it? It was about a week ago, wasn't it? That game was played, and
Yeah,
I have to say that some of the football being played at the moment is just incredibly good. I mean,
not at Anfield though. Sadly, yeah, we
no,
seem to be on the opposite
true.
end of that equation at the
Well,
moment.
yeah, but look where Man City was 10 years
So true.
ago.
So true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people were embarrassed, as it were. And
No,
now,
it's true.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
um,
it's an absolute swings and roundabouts game, isn't it?
yeah, it
Had
is. And
all those years of Man United supremacy where they're unassailable.
absolutely, yeah. And it serves them right for getting above themselves, I think. So,
So, quite right, mate. I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. Well, mate, I think on that football note, I'm conscious of the fact that we might be getting our own red card shortly if this conversation goes on for
yes, we
much
might,
longer.
except that I think there's a game on, which is always
Ah, right.
always. But yeah, I think we probably. Um, yeah, I think we might. I might be pulled off the field very shortly.
Well, mate, I hope that you and Linda both have enjoyed today's winter solstice, and you both go on to have a wonderful, very merry Christmas.
Oh yeah, we've actually she's done a great job. You can't see it in here, but this room really looks like a proper Christmas. She's really, I mean, given everything she's had on this year, which has been pretty heavy, she's done a good job. We've got a Christmas tree that's got about 500 lights on it,
Yes, right.
going on and off, and all the rest of it. We also have some oddly melted candles, which
Oh, even better.
are sort of impotent candles. They, they we had them up in the summer, and when we came to look at them, they've all gone sort of like that. And anyway, I'll draw no further
Oh,
comparisons between.
that's great. I mean, I love that. We've talked about this many times in the past, but we both love the festive season.
Yeah.
I'm off tomorrow. I'm off to with female Sumner Junior. I'm off to the Royal Albert Hall to see some Christmas big band, and I
Oh
very
yeah.
much look
Good.
forward to that. That's always
Good.
good with
Great.
some mulled
Yeah.
wine.
Yeah.
Oh, and I tell you what, another interesting place to close out, and I think you like this is, um, so we used to talk a lot for my old Hard Degree podcast. There's a whole strand on that podcast which is audio conversations, not like the YouTube you're on now. Michael Moorcock's Multiverse. There were at least 4 episodes of that. And by the way, there are two banked. They've never been heard, but I'll get that sorted out in the new year. But that's been unavailable for a while. But recently, an old pal of mine put it all up on YouTube. So anybody who likes these conversations and is interested in the content of them, I'll put in a link for our old audio podcast conversations from Hard Degree, of which there's at least 4 hours of content on there, which is us banging on in the same manner, but
Yeah.
lots of interesting stuff
Yeah.
from
I'm just
Mike.
thinking that people are going to get, particularly Americans, probably going to get tired of pie talk unless we have to split the thing, and just have a pie
Yes.
podcast and
Stranger things have happened.
well,
The Frey Bentos hour with Michael Moorcock.
well, they'd have to support it because Frey Bentos no longer make meat pies. They're essentially making vegetarian pies with a bit of gravy in them.
Yeah,
I
okay.
don't know if you've had one lately, but we had a little store of them, and because we didn't have anything else,
Yeah.
and they were basically meatless meat pies. I mean, the meat content has gone down and down, and they're supposed to come from Argentina. I mean, you'd think that, I mean, they could put a bit of beef in them. You don't ask for Desperate Dan, but
A bit of
anyway.
beef is so Frey Bentos. If you're watching, come on, guys.
Yes, absolutely.
Sort it out.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, I hope that you have enjoyed some wonderful festive food, Mike.
You too, Andy. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
And give my love to Linda.
I'll tell you a funny thing.
Let's have it. Let's have it.
Linda said the other day we'd better get some Christmas pudding in, and I agreed. She said then yesterday she called me into this very room and showed me we've accumulated a stack of Christmas puddings. I mean, every year we get too many, and then we put them aside for next year. And I said to her, we're going to have to start eating them, one a day until we're through with them. Otherwise. We will, they'll. I don't know what the hell happens to. I think they're all right, but I think I'd like a fresh one.
Yeah, absolutely right, mate. They do last for a long time.
They do, yeah. Well, my mum always made the Christmas puddings a year ahead, and then would top them up with brandy. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, I would not. I'm not.
But this is a festive topic which I wholeheartedly endorse.
Yeah, yeah.
So, however, anyone out there is enjoying their Christmas pudding, but brandy, I'm telling you, Mike's absolutely right, is the only way forward. I hope everyone enjoys it very much. But I hope you have a wonderful time, mate.
Yeah, you too, Andy, and same to all the viewers.
Yeah, quite right.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, everyone, and Merry
Christmas. No ho
ho. And I look forward to seeing you in the new year, mate.
Yeah, you too, Andy. Yeah.
Take care, Mike.
Cheers.